Earlier this week, we had a man called Karl Tiefenbacher on, and he was standing as an independent, complete political newbie in the by-election in Wellington that was caused by the elevation of Tamitha Paul to Parliament. She was a Wellington City Councillor, but she won Wellington Central with the help of a whole lot of students who don't live here in the Green Party. So they had to have a by-election, and Karl Tiefenbacher ran a cafe, and he decided to get into it. And when we spoke to him, a couple of days ago, it looked like he had it by a narrow margin in the bag, but specials were still to be counted. Karl joins us now to explain it didn't quite go your way, did it?
Unfortunately not. It turned around at the last minute.
All right, and how much did you lose by?
45 is the difference.
On a turnout of eligible voters of what?
Only around 24%. I think about 8,500, maybe just under 8,500 people.
So your Green opponent, Geordie Rogers, swept to victory with a 45-vote win over you with 24% turnout. What a glowing endorsement. Mind you, we would have had to say the same about you if you had got there, Karl. Karl, firstly...
Yeah.
Were you surprised? Are you disappointed?
I'm definitely disappointed. A little bit surprised. You know, the feedback I have had throughout the whole campaign is that people want change. And, the reality is that I think Wellingtonians actually voted quite strongly on my behalf, but unfortunately there are also a few transient people and a few short-term people who live in the city who may be better influenced by Greens and Labour than they are by...
You're talking about the students.
By logic.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
All right, and I did warn you, didn't I, that the Greens tended to do well on specials.
Reality is that they actually, I think the 2,000 votes got cast on the Friday and Saturday, and we know that they had a meeting on Thursday night and basically G'd up their supporters because they thought they'd lose.
They have a good look. There is no doubt in terms of electioneering, the Greens have an incredible ground game in Wellington at a local and national political level. There are a lot of them here. And it's the wokest. Don't forget too, Karl, you came close in the wokest city in New Zealand.
Oh, mate, if you look at it, we're probably the wokest ward in the city because we have all the students, we have a lot of renters. I think if we look at it across the city, I think it's even stronger in the Lambton ward than anywhere else.
All right. So, Karl, what do you do now? You gave it a crack, you came close. Do you go back to... what you did before and say, that was a merry game of soldiers, but that's it?
To be fair, I was never doing this for a paycheck or for a title. So, to be honest, I'm even more determined now to make a difference. The reality is, I think we can actually try and force some change from the outside as much as we possibly could on the inside. So I had some plans of how I was going to try and make sure that Wellington's voice was truly heard, which I'm going to continue on with. There is still a potential. We're not going to go for a recount because that just recounts the votes. There is a possibility that we will go for a validation of votes because I do believe...
Okay, so now what's the difference? That was the other thing I was going to ask. With a margin that close, do you recount or not? But what's the validation of votes process? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically the recount is simply just counting the votes that you've already got without actually checking whether they're actually legitimate votes or not. We may have some concerns that the amount of votes that went in the last 2 days would suggest that there is potential that maybe not all would be legitimate, but because they're only counted on a very basic validation point of view versus actually carefully scrutinised, we may go down that line. If I do, it's not because I'm actually bitter of losing, because I actually am really determined that I'll just work from outside the council. But I have so many supporters who have supported all the way through that are really passionate and quite pissed off, to be fair, that we've been pipped at the post, if you like, who really, I guess it's almost not even a validation of this election, but it's just a validation of the process. Because with postal votes, unfortunately, there are not many catches for maybe disingenuous behaviour. For example, if I went to the electoral officer 2 months ago and I said, okay, so if people were in the halls, for example, last year, they can't be in a hall this year, so therefore that can't be their postal address still. Do you still send them in the halls? And the answer was, yeah, if that's what they're enrolled as, yep, we still send them there.
Ooh.
So, there's definitely things...
you're not, but that would seem to me to open some real skullduggery could have gone on then.